Good morning, everybody. I am Sudarshan Santhiappan. I am a PhD scholar with Professor Ravindran at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of IIT Madras. I am going to present our work on the approach to growing a semi-supervised classification tree. A tree structure is made of a root node being attached to two or more subtrees. A decision tree is grown by recursively splitting the data at every node based on some criteria. The most popular criteria is the impurity, which measures the homogeneity of the data available at every tree node. When all the data available at a node is from a single class, we call the node as a pure node. So impurity measures how much of label mixing is observed at every node. The objective of the decision tree algorithm is to find the best split point that minimizes the impurity. The node split algorithm greedily scans all the candidate split points to find the best. We observe something very interesting in the way impurity is computed. Impurity does not seem to depend on the class labels directly. Instead, it uses only the class proportions of the node data. If we could predict the class proportions of a mixed set of labeled and unlabeled data, it is possible to concoct a recipe for semi-supervised learning. We use the maximum mean discrepancy method for estimating the class proportions, the details of which are in the following slides. The alternate methods in the literature are based predominantly on self-training and no data clustering. MMD is the distance between the data distribution embeddings in a reproducing kernel Hilbert space. When we use an universal kernel such as the RBF in the Hilbert space, there exists an injection between the space of distributions and the space of mean features. In the mixed data scenario, MMD assumes that the class conditional distributions of the labeled and the unlabeled data are the same and essentially tries to match both the distributions based only on the mean of the features in the Hilbert space. One great advantage of MMD is it being non-parametric and applicable to arbitrary domains, including the high-dimensional ones. Estimation of class ratios of the unlabeled data is possible by minimizing the MMD over functions in the Hilbert space induced by the RBF kernel. To achieve this, we set up an optimization problem on the kernel matrices which finds a suitable class proportion that minimizes the MMD between the labeled and the unlabeled class conditional distributions. Given the computed kernel matrices of the labeled and unlabeled datasets, let's now look at how we set up the class ratio estimation algorithm using the MMD method. Given the kernel matrices KLL and KUL and the class labels of the labeled data Y, we compute a matrix H that captures the average kernel distances amongst all pairs of classes. We then prepare the quadratic optimization problem with the linear constraints. The linear constraints are computed based on the average kernel distance between a class and the entire unlabeled dataset. We solve the optimization problem using a standard quadratic programming solver available as a part of the MOSEC library to estimate the class proportions of the unlabeled data. Given the availability of a method for class ratio estimation, let us see how we can do a node split with the mixed dataset. The mixed data is passed to the impurity estimator, which is a special method implemented for working on unlabeled datasets with the help of MMD-based class ratio estimation. The mixed data is split into two parts, the labeled and the unlabeled. We invoke our MMD class ratio estimator on the unlabeled data to predict its class proportion. The labeled part is processed the usual style of counting the labels to get the respective class prop. The labeled and unlabeled class proportions are combined into one mixed data class proportion with which we compute the impurity score. Information gain for this split is estimated the usual style, and we repeat the process on all the available split points to find the best split that maximizes the information gain. The technique is pretty simple yet very effective in making the best use of unlabeled data alongside the labeled ones. Let's now investigate on how we build the class ratio estimation model. The MMD method requires the kernel matrices with which we estimate the class proportions. We use the RBF kernel for the choice of universal kernel, which is parameterized by the bandwidth gamma. We need to find the best gamma value that helps estimating the class ratio accurately. We set up the search for gamma through a 5-fold cross-validation process. Every fold splits the labeled part of the given dataset into a train eval pair. Under each fold, we check the correctness of the predicted class ratio against the true class ratio of the evaluation set. The base bandwidth of the RBF kernel is estimated from the input label dataset, which we scale up or down to create the choices of different gamma values. We do a linear search on the possible gamma values that maximize the accuracy of the class ratio estimation. The green block expands the gamma testing process where we compute the kernel matrices with the chosen gamma and predict the class ratio of the eval set. We collect the gamma values that predicted the class proportion with more than 90% confidence. We also remember the confidence scores alongside the gamma values, which will serve as weights later. We make a weighted linear combination of all the kernels that scored more than 90% accuracy of class ratio estimation. To set context, an additive kernel is an equivalent of feature space expansion. Once the additive kernel is computed, we test it for accurate prediction of class ratio. If the additive kernel gave a better score than individual kernels, we collect the additive kernel per fold. If otherwise, we collect the best kernel in that fold. Once the folds are completed, we would have collected all the kernels that score high confidence predictions. We now create a super additive kernel with all the collected kernels, which in turn is used for making the class ratio predictions during the mixed data node split. The computational complexity is a function of the number of data points, dimensionality of the data, and the number of classes. We now explain our experiment setup for evaluating the performance of our proposed semi-supervised classification tree. We implemented the algorithm as an extension of the CART method available under the SMILE Scala package. We implemented the class ratio estimation algorithm in C++17 for speed. We limited our experiments only to compare against the vanilla decision tree, as the source code for the other methods in the literature were not easily available. Moreover, we were keen to check if the semi-supervised version is better than the supervised version of decision trees, as there is a lot of opportunity to extend the work to ensembles such as random forest and boosted trees. We use 5-fold cross-validation for reporting the performance scores measured using the F1 metric. We repeated each dataset experiment 5 times, as the underlying CRE kernel selection algorithm uses randomization in its internal routines. We ensured that the label data that is exposed to the supervised and the semi-supervised trees are identical. For every data set, we exposed 1%, 5%, 10%, and so on up to 55% of label data to measure the performance across the board. We stopped at 55% as it is not interesting to run a semi-supervised method when there is more label data. For class ratio estimator algorithm to work correctly, we empirically found the size of the unlabeled dataset to be at least 50 in every node. We limited the tree growth to 3 levels and 5 splits for this reason. Moreover, the semi-supervised version is relatively slower as it is computationally more complex. Let's now study the 4 prominent scenarios observed during the experimentation process. The first case is where everything worked perfectly in the semi-supervised tree. The plots show the F1 score of the classifiers at different label data percentage exposures. We characterize the successful CRE rollout by the observation of clear improvement across majority of the label data exposures. The plots for both dataset confirm the clear improvement in performance by the semi-supervised tree. The second scenario is characterized by simple decision boundaries. We validate this hypothesis by observing a high F1 score achieved by the vanilla decision tree method, even with less label data availability, leading to no room for improvement. The third scenario is characterized by hard decision boundaries. We validate this hypothesis by observing a low F1 score achieved by the vanilla decision tree. For a binary classification setting, anything lower than 1/2 is poor. In the case of multi-class classification, a poor performance is characterized by the F1 score being less than 1/C, where C is the number of classes. The fourth scenario is when CRE failed miserably, not offering any kind of help. We validate this hypothesis by observing a high vanilla tree performance and a low semi-supervised tree performance. One good reason for this behavior is the restrictive MMD assumption of identical label training and unlabeled test distributions. Moving on to the multi-class classification performance, we observe similar scenarios in the multi-class classification settings as well, which we can observe from these plots. We also observe that the semi-supervised method works well with as low as 5% of the label data exposure. Let's now look at how the method has performed in our tests with the collection of datasets from the UCA repository. We use a total of 40 datasets for running our comparative study between the vanilla decision tree and the proposed semi-supervised tree. Of the 40, there were 31 binary class datasets and 9 multi-class datasets, which are highlighted in the table. On the whole, our method reported improvement in the F1 scores for 31 datasets out of 40, We ran the two sample t-test on the F1 score to measure the statistical significance of the improvements with the significance level set to 5% and observed 21 clear wins and 6 losses. The overall performance summary also appears interesting to pursue this research to the next level. We already mentioned that the semi-supervised method is computationally more complex. Let us now see how complex it is. As we see, the semi-supervised method has more work to do compared to the vanilla decision tree. For every split point tried, we have to estimate the class ratio twice. The overall speed of the vanilla decision tree method depends on the number of features and the number of unique feature values. In addition to those, the semi-supervised method also depends on the speed of the class ratio estimation routine. We measure the computational complexity of the mixed data impurity estimator to be order of C square n square, where C is the number of classes and n is the number of data points. Extending on that, the computational complexity of the semi-supervised node split method is found to be order of C square n square s, where s is the number of split points evaluated by the node split algorithm. A decision tree is an aggregation of several node splits. So if there are b nodes in a tree, the overall computational complexity is found to be order of b c square n square s. The vanilla decision tree has a complexity of order of b n s. So with respect to dataset size, vanilla tree runs linearly while the semi-supervised method takes quadratic time, which is the reason for the slowness. Let's now summarize our work in terms of the contributions made. We proposed a novel semi-supervised node split approach that allows the usage of unlabeled data alongside the labeled for growing classification trees. We also showed that our method works even for as low as 5% labeled data exposure. We have also developed an algorithm for the simple kernel selection to work with the MMD method for class ratio estimation. We capitalized on the feature expansion power through additive kernels to improve the accuracy of the class ratio estimation. We also observed the application of our method to mild class imbalance problems. This is evident through the F1 score improvement for the datasets having the imbalance ratio more than 1. There are some shortcomings in our approach in terms of non-applicability of MMD to certain problem scenarios. Also, the slow speed could be a concern when we ought to use this method for large datasets. In terms of future directions, we would like to address such shortcomings and make it faster for large data settings. Also, we would want to expand the horizon by extending the method to ensembles such as semi-supervised random forests and boosted trees. With that, we come to the end of this presentation. We thank everyone for your time and attention. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.